New data about jobs in Missouri shows unemployment is slightly higher in the state of Missouri than a year ago, and there are now fewer jobs for the people looking for work. The Missouri Economic Research and Information Center, or MERIC, released its August jobs report today. It found non-farm payroll employment decreased by 5,900 jobs in the state in August. The biggest impact is in private health care and social assistance, as well as the manufacturing of durable goods.
For the first time in a long time, we do have more job seekers than job openings, which is different than the past. But historically speaking, 4.1% is still a relatively low unemployment rate. I think it's safe to say that employers are being selective in their hiring. They are really looking at what positions are crucial to their operation and hiring just those positions.
The Missouri Job Center says some employers are expanding job openings in our area. That includes Bass Pro, Amazon, and anything in the medical field. MERIC reports Missouri's unemployment rate has been at or below the national rate for more than a decade now. The Job Center says you can come by anytime for help with finding a job.